Welcome. Today we're talking about LinkedIn ads and especially a beginner's guide to LinkedIn ads. So if you're a beginner but you want to get really a firm understanding around LinkedIn advertising, then this is the video for you. So definitely stick around. We're going to basically start right at the beginning and discuss who are LinkedIn ads for and especially who they are not for, because they're not for everyone. Discuss the reasons why LinkedIn ads are potentially amazing compared to say Facebook and other advertising platforms such as a search-based Google. And then we're going to dive in, start our own ad account and actually set up a full ad. And as we set up the ad, we're going to go through each of the different elements we need to understand, from the objectives, targeting, bidding, tracking, creatives and copy. And stick around to the end, because right at the end I'm going to talk about the costs associated around LinkedIn ads. Are they affordable? This is a big question a lot of people ask. We're going to go through and discuss the exact CPC, the cost per click we should be aiming for, the cost per lead we should be aiming for, and most importantly the cost per action, which is normally schedule a phone call, schedule a demo, sign up to a free trial if you're a B2B SaaS company. So that's the cost per action. And the most important cost, which is the customer acquisition cost. So definitely stick around to the end. So let's start by setting up an ads account. And the first thing you need to do is go to linkedin.com, go to your account. Hopefully you have this already. And if you go up here, you see work, you click on work and you go to advertise. Click on advertise. And here we are. Here we can set up an ad account. So let's call it test ad account, call it whatever you want. This is really important. Make sure the currency is correct straight away, because I think you can't change this afterwards, or if you can, it's really difficult. So make sure you choose the currency that is the right one for you. So let's do pound for me. Associated. So I don't know if you need to do that, but hopefully not. Create the account. And there you go, you have an ad account, which is super cool, which gets taken to this page, which is strange. But go back up here, and this is now Campaign Manager. And I have another video, which I'll make sure to link up here somewhere, which goes over Campaign Manager. I go into detail about exactly what everything means, because the dashboard kind of looks like an F1 fighter jet. It's complicated, and LinkedIn doesn't seem to do the greatest job of making it user friendly at all. So this is Campaign Manager, and the first thing you're going to know, first thing you need to do is create a campaign here. But if we go back to the campaign groups or the accounts, so we have an account there. This is the test ad account, and we click on test ad account, and it should take us to this one, which is campaign groups. What I always recommend here is actually, we should always create a new campaign group. So the way it works, I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video, but definitely click on the Campaign Manager video. But basically, it works in a hierarchical order. You've got campaign group, you've got an ad account, you've got campaign groups, then you have the campaigns within the campaign groups, and you have the ads within the campaigns. Because you might have multiple ads, you might be A/B testing multiple ads within a campaign, and there might be multiple campaigns in a campaign group. The default campaign group has certain attributes that you can do and can't do, but create a new campaign group. I'd always recommend this and I always just call it whatever, Superlumen, or it could be based around, if you're going to test big campaigns and one's a different kind of campaign group. So we're talking about, for example, if, for example, I have more than one product, more than one service, and I'm building up funnels and targeting around one service over another, I'd probably put those in different campaign groups. That's an example. So let's just call it Superlumen, and we click it down here. So we got now a Superlumen campaign group, which is got a couple of whatever. Superlumen, and we go into, now we have the campaign. Now we're in the campaign hierarchical area. So we go here to set up a new ad. We go to create campaign. Before we do that, actually, I want to show you something which is up here, which is just some kind of housekeeping. If we click on this, we'll say, for example, your name or your company name. But this is really important. If you want to firstly, you need to go to the billing center, and the billing center you need to add a credit card, or there's just going to be constantly some kind of red thing that pops up saying you haven't filled out your billing information. There's also if you message LinkedIn directly and ask for a coupon, you'll probably get a $50 or pound coupon. It might be even up to $100 pound euros. I've even had some, and I get this actually. I have kind of a secret way, but I know how to get some for 1,000. It's like 900 euros, 1,900 pounds, and $900, which is really great. But you can add your coupons and credit here. I would recommend just message LinkedIn either on LinkedIn itself or message them like by finding some help thing. And this is where you can get some coupons just to mess around with the ad. £50 doesn't go a very long way, but there you go. So definitely add that. The next thing you should do up here is look at the manage access. So here you can, for example, if you wanted me to do your LinkedIn ads for you, this is how you would give me access to that. So although you're the account manager, we can edit this and we can add a user. So for example, my name is Phil Illich, and there you go, Philip Illich, there it is. So you can actually add me as either, if I'm auditing your account, if you're already doing something, you can add me as a viewer, then I can access your account. Can't change anything, but I can just audit it. I can see what you're doing, and I can, give suggestions. So I do this all quite regularly for free for people who are going to become potentially a client. I audit their account, and we see whether or not, if I can make improvements. And then you have a few different other things. Account manager is the highest level, and then you have the billing admin. So never give someone else the billing admin. You should always be the billing admin. So that's really important to know. And yeah, that's the most important part. The rest will be in the campaign manager video. So let's set up an ad from scratch. So if we go back to the campaign group, which is over here, campaigns, and create campaign, it's going to ask us for which group do we want. So we can change the group here. There's only one group that I have at the moment, so that's fine. Let's keep it that one. So this takes me on to the objectives. Let's go over the objectives. The objectives are not so black and white, especially come from Facebook, because and I'll go into this in a minute, but for example, website conversions versus website visits is similar to traffic. Website visits like traffic on Facebook, and the conversion objective website conversion is the same as conversion on Facebook. So let's start from left to right and top to bottom. Brand awareness. I don't really use this very often because it basically does the same as engagement, but it doesn't allow. I don't use the engagement or brand awareness very much because it doesn't give you the control you want. With this, I would always recommend just using website visits because you always want to bid by the cost per click. And with brand awareness, you can't. You have to bid by the cost per mil CPM. And I'll get to this in a minute in the bidding and budgeting part, but we always want to start with cost per click, and then when your campaign is doing really, really well, you want to switch it to cost per mil, because at this point you know that your campaign is doing really, really well, so you can start being really aggressive with the bidding it by the mil, because you already know click-through rate, people are clicking on it and engaging it well, so you know that's going to do well. If you just start with cost per mil, then you're going to lose out. Potentially you're going to get charged just for the impression, just by having the ad in front of someone, but maybe no one's engaging with it, maybe no one's clicking on it, but you're getting charged anyway. So with the cost per click, you get more control, and that's why I would rather keep all the control. And I'm going to go through this within LinkedIn because you need to keep the control. LinkedIn will just blow your money. It's an expensive platform, but it's more expensive if you don't follow along with what I'm doing here. So generally speaking, let's ignore that. Generally speaking, we can ignore engagement. Engagement does have some functionality. For example, if we go down to engagement, we can do a follower ad. So we can try to get people to follow our page with the engagement objective up there. So this is really, really great. But generally speaking, I wouldn't use the engagement. The video views is really great, and I'd always do video view, generally speaking, at the top of funnel. So when you're targeting someone cold, a video is a great way to start, and this is what you could do. You could do a video view, and you'll get charged per video view, which is 2 seconds or more, which is cool. But then what's great is we can then retarget anyone who's watched a certain percent of the video, and that depends on a few different factors, like how long it is. So if it's a really short video, maybe you want to target everyone who's watched 75% or more. If you're talking about like a 10-minute video, then maybe 25% or 50% more is cool, and we can retarget that. So generally speaking, I'd use video views for that, but always A/B test actually, because you can also do You can also do video ads with website visits. Like if you click on website visits and we go down, we then have all these different options and we can actually do a video ad as well. And I prefer it again because with video views, you can't bid by the cost per click. You have to bid by the, so if we go down to the bidding section, basically we're bidding by the, view. So video views. So we have video views or impressions. We don't have bidding by the click, which I prefer normally. But I'll A/B test this because sometimes even the click is fine. But with this, you can only bid by the video view, which is 2 continuous seconds or more. So every time someone watches 2 seconds, which is quite easy to do, you get charged, or the impression. It's kind of like an impression, which I don't love. So what I would normally do, if you have a video, I'd actually stick with website visits, which is the go-to. And if you go down and click, if you see here, you can do by the click or the impression. Just keep it on the click. So yeah, generally speaking, again, something they don't really need to do. Website visit is the one we will use the most. And this is the one we want if we want to send people off from the platform. And this basically is with lead generation. These two are basically all you need to get started as a beginner. The other ones, you can do some kind of more advanced stuff. You can A/B test certain things. But for the purpose of this video, for the purpose of being a beginner and learning what you need to know, website visits and lead generation are the two you need pretty much. You can ignore the rest. The reason why website conversions compared to website visits with Facebook, and this is where Facebook advertisers go wrong on LinkedIn, they'll click website conversions. I've A/B tested conversions versus visits multiple times, and actually it doesn't seem to get any better. And it's probably because whereas Facebook has loads and loads of information, loads of data on its users, LinkedIn doesn't have this kind of data. So the conversion is trying to optimize based on what people do off from the platform and whether or not they're more likely to click around and actually have a conversion, for example, fill in a form or schedule a call. But with Facebook, that I would always use the conversion objective. With LinkedIn, I don't, because it's not there yet. Maybe one day I'll be changing my mind on this, but at the moment we're not there. So with website visits, if you want to send people off from the platform, say to a landing page or to your website, this is the one you want. And what we should do is always A/B test with lead generation. So lead generation is basically a lead generation form. So it's great. So for example, if we want to get a lead, and we want someone to opt into some kind of gated content, so we get the lead, we get the information, there are two kind of things you should be doing. One is sending them off from the platform to a landing page, which is like called an opt-in page, where people see, okay, this, and the opt-in page is all about the gated content that you, that it is. So it's just talking about the value of the gated content, and you have a form to fill out on the opt-in page. But lead generation will do that on LinkedIn, on the platform itself. So they don't ever lead. And the pros and cons is that the leads will be much cheaper on a lead generation form, so the form pops up, but the leads will be not as good quality. Whereas with website visits, the leads will be more expensive. But if you have a really high value individual, then it might be worth pushing them to the opt-in page. The second pro of doing that is that you get actually more control. So you can redirect them then to the sales page, what we call sales page, which is where we're trying to get the CPA, the cost per action, which is, for example, schedule a demo if you're a B2B SaaS company, schedule a call if you're a B2B consultancy or SaaS company, or, for example, do a free trial, something like that. That's the action. So we can send them to an opt-in page. Then when they opt in, we redirect them directly to the sales page to get them to do the action. So that flow gives us more control. Lead generation can't really do that. But I would always A/B test both flows. And with lead generation, often we can get the conversion by email retargeting. So yeah, the website visits, lead generation, the two you should be looking at. Ignore the rest, really. Job applicants, I don't really use. I don't know much about it, or as much as I should probably. But let's just say it's website visits. We're going to send people off from the platform. The next thing you need to do is look at the audiences. So you can save audiences, and you can use LinkedIn's own audiences. So LinkedIn creates like experts in Bitcoin blockchain. That's cool. I didn't see that. But basically, LinkedIn has created all these audiences. You don't really need to use this, and they're adding to it all the time. But so you can go through this and see what they're doing. I think it's a bit pointless because the whole point of LinkedIn is that we have full control over who we're targeting, and we should be very specific. So, but what I always do recommend is save your targeting as a template, because then you don't have to do this every time. So, first thing is location. So, yeah, just talk recent or permanent location, or just permanent location. And for example, let's just do United Kingdom. So let's just stick to that. The next part is, the next part is your audience has their profile language set to English. But if you want to target other nationalities, you can do so by clicking on a different language. If their LinkedIn profile language is set to a different language, it will target. So that's quite useful if you just want to target French people. Maybe it's like expats, you want to target French people in Portugal, where I live. Could be interesting. There's a lot of French people. The next one is the actual audience. So there's a lot to go through. I've got a full-blown targeting course, which is totally for free and goes into depth around the targeting. So I'm not going to go over everything here, but you can just click on the link below and sign up to my free targeting course, which is hosted on Thinkific. So just, you do that. But for the sake of this, the main ones I'd always test with targeting. There are 4 things I would test. Targeting by job title, targeting by job title and industry, for example, targeting by groups and seniority level, targeting by skills and seniority level, and targeting by function and seniority level. So the job titles are the one that everyone goes to. So it's the most expensive, but the most accurate at the same time. So I always use that as a benchmark. I always have that as one of the targeting types. But then I also always target at least 1 or 2 other types to compare, A/B test. So if you want to just go straight for that, that's fine. That makes sense. But it will be the most expensive. Part of it is because job title on LinkedIn is a free form field, which basically means that a lot of people just write what they want in it. So it's, even though you're going to only target like 40 to 50% of the people who have actually the job title you want to target by targeting by job title, which makes it like the pool of people you're targeting smaller, and everyone's targeting that group specifically. So it's more expensive because there's more demand for that group. So if you start trying to target these other people who don't have the job title set for the job title you want, you need to do some other form of targeting, and it'll be cheaper and maybe less accurate, but really, really good. So let's go over here. If you go to job experience, job titles, then you can do, for example, CMO. Okay, let's target CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and great. Let's just do, often I will, and this is in the targeting course, I will do 2 campaigns, one targeting senior level, so for example, the C-suite or decision makers like that and above, and another one manager level, just to see which one, reacts to the post better, and we can then understand the data a bit better by separating it. So now we want to narrow the field, and we want to then, for example, do normally industry. So go up here, so let's go back. So go to audience attributes, company, and then you can go down to company industries. So I like software. So this, for example, B2B SaaS is computer software. So here we go. We've got that there, and basically your audience is too small. That's strange. It shouldn't be that. But let's just try to see. I think this is a training account, so they're acting a bit weird. But let's add some more job titles. So marketing, let's just check the marketing directors. Let's add some marketing directors. Okay, there you go. Marketing managers. Okay, because it's really a small industry. So let's also add to that. Let's also add to the industry. Let's also add internet. Okay, here we go. So now we've got 12,000. I'd say 12, like the right targeting, the right audience size is between 30 to 100,000. And that's the right. If you go to LinkedIn and ask them what's the best, they'll say like 300,000. Ignore that. It's actually better to have small audience sizes and just test them all. So if your audience size is 300,000, try to segment it either by manager level and director level and above, or for example, other ways that might be interesting information for you, such as industry or different types of job titles, or that kind of stuff. So we can segment it. So 30 to 100,000, 12,000 is fine. It's a bit small, but it's okay. So if we go back to here, the other ways of targeting, for example, are by interest and traits. So this is where the groups are. So you can go to groups. Groups are great because groups are super crap on LinkedIn. So the people who have joined a group are really serious about the topic. So I really love targeting by group. In fact, I think it's one of the best targeting types, and I'd highly recommend. Target by groups. Create a list of groups that you can find on LinkedIn, and then just input the groups here. So for example, if you want to target like sustainability people who are interested, there's all these groups around sustainability, and you can see you can see how big these groups, there's 2,100 people now. So you do groups. So what you also should do is target by seniority level. So groups plus seniority level. So if you go to job experience, job seniorities, and let's say we only want the director level and above. So we click there, and owner is potentially as well. So there you go. So I'm in a tiny group here, but I've only put one group. So you should make a mega list of groups and try to get the audience size big enough, and then also seniority level. So it doesn't target anyone who isn't a manager level above, or director level above, or VP level above. Whoever you're trying to target, or it could just be the managers, because maybe you want IT managers. So that's really good. Another really important one is the company size. So what's the company size? We already know, most people already know this, but the company size is really important, and that's in company size down here. There are other things you can do. There's categories, which LinkedIn has created a bunch of categories. There's growth rate, which is quite interesting. So companies that are growing at a faster rate. So if you click on that, you can see like 10 to 20% growth rate. So this is to do with how many employees are saying they're working for companies. So it only works with like the bigger companies. And then we have member skills. Member skills are really great. For example, if you want to target me, I'm a LinkedIn ads specialist. That doesn't exist as a job title, so you can't target me. I'm probably targeted as a founder or something. But if you wanted to target people like me who don't clearly have a job title, and there's a lot of them, then skills is a great way of doing it. But you should do a long form skill normally, or like it can't just be like marketing, because everyone says they have marketing skills, even people who don't do any marketing, or people who do, if you're in sales, you might say marketing as a skill, so it's too broad. But for example, SEO or something more specific, or content marketing, maybe something more long tail, or for example, LinkedIn ads, LinkedIn advertising. See, you can reach me by this skill, so that's great. Skills is a great one. So the last one is by job functions. You can reach that by job experience, job function. Job function is basically like the department, and you can just reach that there, like accounting or the engineering department. So it's just like groups of job titles within departments that LinkedIn has said. So that's it really with targeting. Always get rid of enable audience expansion, because with LinkedIn ads, we want to be as specific as possible. So get rid of enable audience expansion. We don't need that. We don't want it, because we don't want LinkedIn to use its own algorithm to find other people similar, because the targeting is so specific anyway. We can just add it to ourselves what we want. We don't want to pay for anyone else. So don't give LinkedIn any control. So get rid of audience expansion. And another one, if you go down, get rid of, straight away before you forget, enable the LinkedIn audience network. We don't want the audience network. Audience network, we don't really know the full extent of LinkedIn's audience network, and the audience network is basically other third-party websites or other places that your ads could appear. I'll get rid of it, because we're paying a premium price for these people. We want to grab them on LinkedIn. We want to make sure that they're on LinkedIn. That's my opinion. You could do this if you are, you want to get a lot more leads quickly and you're coming up to a deadline. So generally speaking, for this beginner YouTube video, I'll get rid of it. Just get rid of it. So these are the ad formats, and the first one we're going to talk about is sponsored content. Sponsored content are basically the ads which can be found here in the main prime real estate right in the middle here. And this is the best ad format. It has an average click-through rate of something like 0.4 to 0.5%, which sounds bad, because normally 1% is much more than, from Facebook. But it's the best ad format you're going to do on LinkedIn. So it's definitely the good one. So it gives you all this real estate. It's right in the middle, right in the feed. It looks like an organic post, but it's not. And you can basically add a lead gen form to it, which you do by clicking, which you would do then by actually not having website visits. You'd have it here, lead generation, and it'll add here, it'll have, for example, a lead gen form. So this one will be, this is probably a website traffic one because it's sending us off from the platform to some kind of sign up page. So Scale Week, the business plan. So here's an opt-in page that people are sending people from using website visits. But if we go back here, we can see a lead gen form. So here it says promoted. So this is a lead generation objective. And here it is. If you click here, sign up, this is a lead gen form. It auto fills everything, so it's super, super easy. I don't have to do anything. I can just click submit, and boom, it's submitted. Information sent. They're probably going to send me an email, or they're going to try to call me. But there you go. It's super simple. That's why lead gen forms are great, because you can just do a lead gen ad, and it's done. But this is all sponsored content, and you can have it as a video, as an image, or a carousel ad. So going back here, these are all, and then there's text ads. Text ads are great, but again, for the beginning video, we're not going to go deep into text ads. I have another video which I'll link to, but text ads are really great as a retargeting thing. The click-through rate is notoriously low. It's something like 0.02 to 0.03%. So we're talking about two to three people for every 1,000 times your ad is shown. A text ad will be clicked through. So here we have a text ad. A text ad is basically on the right rail, and that's why the click-through rate is so low. It's kind of, when was the last time you clicked on something here? And with a text ad, you get a small, tiny one-by-one image and very few characters to express what you need people to do. But they're actually really good because the cost per click on this is so low. I love having this, just running this as a retargeting ad. So retargeting anyone who has engaged with my page, LinkedIn page, or company page, sorry, or the website, have triggered my insight tag or anything like that. So this is a great retargeting ad. It's a little bit more advanced, not necessary for this video today, but it's a really good one. Next, we have spotlight ads, and these are the worst ad format that exists with LinkedIn. They have low click-through rates, and they're quite expensive, and they're kind of just a weird format where they put in your face. Say, if I'm advertising to you, it'll be your face here, and then it'll be say my company here. I'm trying to get you to do something. And now we have message ads and conversation ads. So message ads are basically the ad format, which is the in-mail. So when you get an in-mail on LinkedIn, it's like a message saying, hey, it's basically equivalent to an email, but on LinkedIn. And it's just people saying, hey, can do this action, this is who I am, blah, blah, blah. I find that actually it's probably if you do the maths on it, it's the highest cost per click you're going to get. So it's going to give you the highest cost per click over anything else. So I would generally stay away from this. There are examples where this works, but generally most people go straight to message ads thinking, wow, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to be in the inbox of all these really high senior people. Not really. Most people ignore them, and your cost per click is way higher. It's much better just to stick with one of the sponsored content ads. You're going to get the same people, but they're going to be clicking onto your website. So, there is example case scenarios where this works, but generally speaking, I'd stay away from it, especially if you're a beginner. Next one's conversation ads, and this is like an upgrade on message ads because it's like the bot experience. So you can send a message but have numerous different answers. So for example, the message could be, hey, we do this thing, and would you like to download our gated content? And you can attach a lead generation form to them as well, which is really cool. But you can give 3 different answers, for example, which is basically in all stages of the funnel. So one could be like, no, but I'm interested in seeing your website. So they can click that and they'll get sent to your website. The next answer could be, for example, no, tell me more. Maybe, but I want to hear more about who you are first. So they click on that and it'll go to another message saying, yeah, cool, this is what we are, blah, 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 blah. And it'll give more options of more call to actions at the bottom. And another call to action could be, for example, yes, download. So they'll download. And the bottom or funnel kind of one could be, for example, no, I don't need to download, but I would love to contact you about this because I need this now. So that'd be a bottom of funnel, call us kind of thing. So they're great because it gives the user more options to choose from, which just is going to basically create a much better experience, and you're going to have more engagement and click-through rates, all that kind of stuff, because you're giving people more options. So this is a really great one to go for. Generally speaking, stick to sponsored content and text ads, budget and scheduling. So set a daily budget. Yeah, stick to daily budget. And generally speaking, you want to, the minimum in pounds, I think, is £8. Okay. So we got a minimum of £8 a day per campaign. Start day is pretty straightforward, just put it when you want to start. But this is the important part. It always goes automatically to maximum delivery automated. This is like giving LinkedIn your wallet and then just spend as much money as they want. Don't do this. And this is the biggest mistake a lot of beginners make and why they think LinkedIn ads are expensive. They are expensive, but they're more expensive if you get this wrong. The next one's target cost. So you're telling LinkedIn, okay, I want to reach generally this target. Again, don't choose that. Don't give LinkedIn any form of control over your bidding. Go to manual bidding, and the first thing, get rid of enable bid adjustment for high value clicks. You don't want that. Again, we're getting rid of control for LinkedIn. Go down here and just put 1 or 0.1. Oops. So what we want to see? Oh, this is really interesting. But this is really low, probably because who am I targeting? Like some kind of random group. But generally speaking, what you want to do here is you want to come here and you want to ignore this. What it says is, we recommend bidding of £7. Similar advertiser bidding between £5 and £10. This is total bullshit. Do not listen to this. Just ignore this completely. And this is LinkedIn. I don't know why they do this and why they're tricking new advertisers into this. Even experienced advertisers, I audit accounts all the time, are just following what LinkedIn says. Don't do it. The bidding strategy is bid the floor, bid the minimum LinkedIn will allow you. So here it's 90 pence. So we got 90 pence. Cool. But what you're going to do is you're going to start bidding at the floor. Whatever, it'll be more like £3-4 or something like that, or if you're targeting or £5. But bid the floor. Whatever. Come here and just put 0, 1, and see what LinkedIn tells us the floor is called 0.9. So that's the floor. Do that with whoever you're targeting. Again, it's going to be higher than that. Then once we launch the campaigns, we watch it for 24 hours, and we're basically trying to see whether or not they have spent the budget. So say if you want to spend £15 a day on this campaign, at the end of 24 hours, once LinkedIn's optimized a little bit, or even 48 hours, if you've noticed that LinkedIn has not spent £15 in a day and has only spent £4, which is quite possible in the day, then we know that we're not reaching the most efficiency we want. So this bidding is also a function of the budget, and they work hand in hand. If you have a really big budget and you need to spend more, you need to put your ads in front of more people, then you need to be more aggressive with the bidding. But generally speaking, most people want to spend something like £10 a day, especially if you're new. So we can get pretty close to the floor, and so this is just complete crap. So basically, if we've noticed we want to spend £10, but we spend £4, we know we're not quite there. So let's just increase it to say like £1.30. Then we leave it for another 24 hours. Say if we spend £8, we're not quite there yet. Let's increase it another, 20 pence, see what happens. Okay, today we've spent £12. Let's leave it a little bit longer. Okay, £12 again, 2 days in a row. We know we're bidding too much then because we've spent the whole budget, which means we could have actually bidded less. So let's go down to 0.45. So this is what you should do until you reach the optimum amount of bidding where your budget's being spent. And it's okay to go a little bit over one day and a little bit under another day. As long as you're kind of hitting your budget, you're being the most efficient you can with your bidding. And that's the strategy. So you need to keep an eye on it each day and make sure we hit the right part there. The next part is, just follow that and you can't go wrong. The next part is conversion tracking. I'm not going to go too much into this, and I have a whole video on installing an insight tag. I'm going to leave a link up here. But basically you want to add any conversion tracking you have, and this is beyond today's video, so we're not going to go over that. So once you click on next and save, we need to create a new ad. So we go here to create new ad. And in this section, we basically need the title does not really matter, but this is just for your, for your own sanity. If you're doing a lot of them, just label them with something that you understand. So this text here you have is you only get 600 characters. So just fill up with the text. This is really important. What I'd recommend is you get straight to the point. Whereas with Facebook, because we can do long form works really well with Facebook. With LinkedIn, we don't get many characters. It's something like 600 characters. So we need to get straight to the point. And also because people are more business minded, they just want to know straight away what to do. So I recommend going straight to the point. If you're trying to get someone to download something, say, download this and why. Download this gated content because it's going to help you with X, Y, and Z. And then you can have a bit of a paragraph going into a little bit more detail. And that's it. You need to get straight to the point. Or schedule a call of us for these reasons. We're going to help you with X, Y, Z. Get to the point. Show people what you want them to do, but right at the beginning. So here is where you want, if it's traffic, website traffic, here you want to put the URL of where you want us to send people. If you have a lead gen form, I have another video all about how to set up a lead gen campaign. So you can click on one of the links. I'll leave them all at the bottom or up here, and you can check that out. So that's basically how you set up the creative and copy. So what can you expect from the cost? Well, the cost per click, you're probably going to get something like £3 up to £6-7 per click, depending who you're targeting. Then the cost per lead will be something, I'm always aiming for around £10 or $12 per lead. If you have a really good gated content, all around the reason, how you're going to get the lead. Is it something low friction, such as download this really useful thing? That's a low friction offer. Or is it a high friction offer, such as, sign up, schedule a call with me now? That you don't know who the hell I am, but schedule a call. That's the kind of structure I don't recommend, but that's a high friction offer. Your cost per lead might be £100 on that per person signing up for that. Whereas your cost per lead on offering a low friction offer could be, I would always aim for having a low friction offer, a really good gated content, something useful, some kind of useful resource for them, and then you're going to get something like $10, $12 or pounds. The next one is the cost per action, which in my books is the place where we're asking for book a demo, book a scheduled phone call if you're a consultancy, book a free trial if you're a B2B SaaS company, and that page from LinkedIn, we're looking at something like £100 to £400 per scheduled phone call, demo, and all that kind of stuff. And the question is, are LinkedIn ads expensive? Yes, at this stage, yes, they are. The question is, are they expensive at the end of it? What is your customer acquisition cost, and what's your ROI? So at this point, the cost per click, cost per lead, and even cost per action is probably more expensive than Google and Facebook. But once you go further down, the customer acquisition cost could be kind of similar, because you're getting high quality leads here, and a lot more of them might convert. So customer acquisition cost starts becoming more on par. But where LinkedIn does and can win is the ROI, or ROAS, return on ad spend, which basically can often be better on LinkedIn because we are targeting such high value companies and individuals. We're targeting the C-suite, the Fortune 500, the really big companies. So the big deals happen on LinkedIn. So the return on ad spend can potentially be much more on LinkedIn. Whereas, the cost per lead, if you're going like for like, just leads from here and leads from there, fair enough, it's probably more expensive. So if you want to learn more, I have a totally free LinkedIn ads targeting course, which you can, sign up to below. It's totally free. It goes in deep into LinkedIn ads targeting. With the course, we learn everything you'll need to know about targeting. You'll be a targeting master by the end of it. So definitely click on that, and please do subscribe if you're a B2B SaaS company or B2B company generally. I'm going to be releasing at least one video every single week on B2B demand generation, and especially LinkedIn advertising.